All right, 5 o'clock on a Monday. Congratulations to who won our JP. What was the name who won our Boise State Nevada tickets last hour? Do you have a name there, man?
Not handy.
Okay,
Actually,
whatever
I
your
just threw
name
my
is.
sticky note away.
Forgot the sticky note, but we gave away some tickets. We'll do that all week, Prater. 5 o'clock, a little darker than you expected. The daylight savings first Monday when you get off if you're a 9 to 5er and you're like,
Is it already dark outside?
Dark. It's really close.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So in another hour, it'll be just pitch black.
But it is nice having the light earlier in the morning. If you're an early riser where it's not dark when you first wake up in the morning, it gets lighter a little sooner. Like sometimes I'm willing to give the good with the bad on this, man.
I don't really worry about the fall one very much, but I love the spring one just because it's symbolic to me and tells me that spring is right around the corner. It makes me feel good that day. Days like this weekend, I'm not sure I even noticed.
Well said, man. 208-424-9300. Call that number because for the next half hour, it's just you, us, Boise State football, your concerns, your questions, what you're excited about. This time tomorrow, Prater, we're going to be talking the first CFP rankings and the revelation there. And in this town, like Bronco Nation, Boise State, they're going to be a part of it. So it's going to be so fun in 24 hours from now. But until then, we got Ashton Jeanty Heisman candidacy to talk. We got college football playoffs, the possibility, the BYU factor. Prater, you had BYU football as your weekend winner. Nobody had a better weekend than BYU, and they didn't even stinking play, Prater. And the Maddux Madsen factor. Call us if you think Mad Dog, has he finally won you over? 208-424-9300, or certainly just assess the performance. Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, Maddux Madsen.
Very nice performance, certainly feeding off the Ashton Jeanty presence and what they're doing with the defenses. We're going to dive into all that today. The defenses from the last two games, what Ashton Jeanty has faced, talking a little bit about CFP tomorrow at 4 o'clock, guys. Johnny and I'll preview our CFP bracket then at 5 o'clock this exact time tomorrow. We'll be doing play-by-play off television as Boise State finds its spot on this historic broadcast, and we think that that's pretty darn cool. But, yeah, let's talk a little bit about Friday night. Let's talk Ashton Jeanty. Let's talk about Maddux Madsen. We got Spencer Danielson and some other coaches we're going to talk about today. All kinds of issues. Anything that's on your mind. If you're embarrassed to play the shout song, call us. If you're not, don't call us. All kinds of things you can talk about, ballgame.
Well, Scotty J called us on the Friday show. Did not like Boise State that they copy Oregon and play shout. If you have any other suggestions, we'll hear those too, Prater. Let's start with Ashton Jeanty. The Heisman odds, they dropped again. Cam Ward's number 1, Travis Hunter number 2, Dylan Gabriel number 3. Ashton Jeanty is now 4th on the Heisman odds list. He was number 1 2 weeks ago, continues to drop. I wonder, call if you guys think, do you care about this? If so, how much do you care if Ashton Jeanty's Heisman candidacy, according to the odds makers, is dropping? Do you think Boise State and Spencer Danielson should do something about this? If in fact, say another Portland State happens, Prater, are people going to be saying, hey, no more sitting in the first half. I want him to play because I want to enhance his Heisman candidacy? I know how you feel about it.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous notion. I mean, all of a sudden, if Ashton Jeanty had played 2 series against Portland State and gained 47 more yards, he'd be a higher odds guy? Come on. That's ridiculous. That's going back and digging up buried stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think Boise State, and we'll play the clip, and Spencer Danielson agrees. I think Boise State is using Ashton Jeanty perfectly. It's an absolute wonderful how they're using him. Some games, they don't get a lot of carries. Other games, you get more carries. It's funny for me because I saw angst over the weekend. There were some people that thought he had too many and some people that didn't think he had enough. So I think Boise State found the perfect balance with Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
I love the way they're using him, especially now that the defenses have started to attack him. And I would do the same thing. And the last 2 defensive efforts have been decent against Ashton Jeanty. And here comes Maddux Madsen just taking advantage of it and playing great football. His best game ever last Friday night.
It was, yeah. And, Latrell Caples, I believe in the KBOI post-game interview, he thanked Ashton Jeanty for having 3 touchdowns. Latrell's a smart player. He thanked Jeanty for opening up the entire secondary for him to score 3 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
Love Latrell Caples. 208-424-9300. Call Boise State football only. Lee, you're first up on the Double Tap Pub hotline. Lee, welcome to Idaho Sports Talk. Where are you taking us, brother?
Well, two things. First thing is Ashton Jeanty's getting screwed. I mean, he has a killer game, a couple killer games, 200 plus yards rushing, and then, defenses are going to play to him. He's still going to have 100 and 150 yard rushing, but it's not, defenses are going to adjust to him. That's just football. And I know, Prater, you probably got him like, number 2, number 3 on your list when you vote. But, it's nice to have a Bronco offense that, if they do shut down, which they have done the last couple of times, not as just shut him down, but just, limit him, to 100 yards, that we don't become one-dimensional, where we actually have Caples, we have Madsen, we have other key weapons in the passing game that when they do shut down the run game, we do have, it does open up, the opportunity for our receivers and our tight end and even our, running backs to get open and get the ball downfield.
Great call, Lee.
Lee,
Lee, stay on.
Yeah, I mean, 99% of what you said made sense, but did you open it up by saying Ashton Jeanty is getting screwed, or did I mishear that?
Yeah, I think he's actually getting screwed because I was actually
screwed by who over what though?
Well, he was number 2. He was number 1.
Well, you're talking Vegas odds. You're talking Vegas odds.
Yeah, as far as where he's supposedly ranked on ESPN's list, all this stuff on it, because if you look at Colorado's Hunter, he was good for the first 2 games of the season, and then he just dropped. I mean, he had maybe 35 yards, 40 yards or whatever, but he wasn't consistent, where Ashton Jeanty, I mean, honestly, has he really had, I haven't kept full track, has he had under a 100-yard game at all this season, or have they pretty much all been over 100 yards?
128, 127.
Isn't 100 yards kind of like the key that, hey, if you have 100-yard, rushing or 100, at least from what I recall, if you had a running back that had 100 yards rushing in a game, that's pretty damn good.
Yep.
But that's why I feel that way is just, screw the Vegas odds makers. I look at what is put on the field and what they do on the field. So
208-424-9300. You guys agree with Lee on that? Ashton Jeanty's getting screwed when it comes to the Heisman odds. And I'll tell you this, if you think Ashton Jeanty is still going to win the Heisman, or if you think he won't, I would love to hear your reasoning behind it, because if you think he will, you should love the fact that there are 3 players with better odds than Ashton Jeanty, because that's more money for you if you do place a bet on this. If he has the 4th best odds, you're going to make a few more bucks than you would betting on Cam Ward on this point. I don't think he's getting screwed over. Prater,
No.
And here's the other thing. I wonder how many of these odds makers like you have a Heisman vote. None.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that, and that's not their point. You know how odds makers work. They're trying to get gamblers' money. They're not predicting anything. So, here in a minute, and I know we got another caller or two, but we're going to play some information today from Spencer Danielson on the number of carries that Ashton Jeanty is getting, if he's comfortable with the number of carries he's getting, and frankly, it was about a 35-minute press conference today. It went longer than usual. I thought the best question that was asked was of you, Johnny Ballgame, the recovery process for Ashton Jeanty. We're going to talk about both those things here in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Until then, James, you're on the Double Tap Pub hotline live on Idaho Sports Talk. James, what do you know? What do you say?
Hey, fellas, thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
We were at the game Friday night, and I thought Ashton Jeanty did great. Hats off to San Diego State and UNLV. I thought, and Hawaii even, they came out with a game plan. If anybody on this planet honestly thought that Ashton Jeanty was going to run for 200 and something plus yards every single game this season after he did it, I was shocked as that he did it against Oregon. And I think Prater said at the beginning of the season, he said that the Heisman is a quarterback award to a team that's has a chance for the championship. And then when he started doing what he was doing, we started getting the hype. It was exciting. But at the same time, as exciting as it was, I was thinking if we don't get our passing game going, which has to take or limit Jeanty to touches, if we do make the playoff at the end of the season, which now is looking even better, if we don't have a passing game, Jeanty's not going to go in as great as he is and beat whoever we get matched up with in the playoffs. So to see Friday night and to see them keying on Jeanty and then to see that passing game open up like it did, I mean, you guys, I listened to a little bit on the way home, and that was one of the greatest offensive shows that I've seen on the blue, and I can't remember how long it was, but the fact that now we've got both going, now you're going to see Jeanty's lane start opening up again even more, because now Maddux and the receivers are a huge threat, and we got a double-headed monster, which is what you want. If you didn't, I wouldn't even want to go to the playoffs with only one-dimensional, but I mean, Jeanty's doing great, and the greatest thing that makes Jeanty even a better person is the fact that, I mean, I'm sure he would love to have that Heisman or be there, but for them to have a chance to go to the playoffs and do some damage there and make some progress there, I think is even higher on his list than winning that quarterback award anyway. I think Prater said it too, that he's going to win all these awards that go to the best running back. He's the best running back in the country. Everybody knows that. He's going to be the first one off the board in the draft. He's going to have a great life ahead of him. But, I mean, to see a game where he has to pound it out and grind it out and still get 100 and something yards, I mean, he's just a freaking stud. And
love it. Great call, James. Appreciate you. Tony, Double Tap Pub Hotline. You got the line, Tony. What do you want to do?
Yeah, no, I agree with what James said. I mean, it's beautiful to see Maddux Madsen play the way he did, hit those receivers. I mean, that's all because Jeanty did what he did, and they're taking what the defense is giving them, and that's beautiful. That's what we need to do. And, I mean, Jeanty, as far as what that guy said, getting screwed, I mean, I don't like that Travis Hunter stuff. I think Jeanty's way better, but Cam Ward's balling out too, so he's going to take the lead, of course, and he's from the Big Five, you know, or whatever, the Power Four or whatever. But, I mean, Jeanty's a stud. And they could have taken him out a little earlier, but I like the fact they gave him some more run, and I don't even know if they have any backup running backs, do they? So, I mean, maybe he has to. I don't know, but I think it was great. I think Maddux with him, he's won me over for sure.
All right, good stuff there by Tony. Has Mad Dog won you over yet? And what did all that do? Yes, Ashton Jeanty opening it up for this passing game. You cannot say this is a one-dimensional offense here. You absolutely cannot say that anymore, Boise State. Your quarterback is also leading the conference in touchdown passes and efficiency rating, Prater.
Yeah, no, the important thing now is, and this is speaking the obvious, he just, as Spencer Danielson likes to say, needs to stack games. He likes to say stack days, stack practices. Well, now Maddux Madsen needs to stack games and continue to build. I can't see taking a step back would not be good right now, and just keep building on the momentum. And I think we will. Every game, he seems like he gets better. This offense seems like it gets better. What we saw on Friday night was a thing of beauty, and it may not always be that beautiful, but I think this offense is going to always be productive. It's always going to be devastating. It's always going to be lethal. And what we saw on Friday night certainly gives us hope for that passing game down the road. I was excited about that.
What are we leaving out? Call 208-424-9300 and get in on this conversation, Boise State. We still got to get to the CFP angle where BYU sits in this thing, and Spencer Danielson about the recovery process for Ashton Jeanty after all these 30-plus carry games. That's our Dollar Loan Center video segment. Appreciate the folks at Dollar Loan Center. Visit don'tbebroke.com. We're Prater on the Ball Game.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.